Is touch starvation real, and if so, how do you deal with it? I don't really trust things like touch starvation to be real. For me it smells of people too unlikable to get affection trying to make up a reason. It's an injustice. Nobody sacrifices themselves to meet their ends. I haven't really been physically affectionate with or felt affection in close to a full decade save for under 10 instances, and it doesn't affect my physical health at all, so I can't speak of an unmet need, just a want. So, I don't really deal with it at all. Touch just isn't a part of my life. Many good things aren't, that's just how it is. It's real, and painful. I hug myself, or my cats, or distract my hands with a task or something. I laughed at the idea of hugging myself to begin with, but my therapist also important pushed me to try it. Surprisingly cathartic. You want to be held? Hold yourself, 'cause you deserve it. That's what I'm told. I'm sorry to everyone answering this question. You, don't deserve to be touch-starved, but damn, we can love ourselves better than anybody else can anyway. It won't always be like this. I've never known touch. My family isn't really like that, and as a guy that doesn't really happen with friends either. So far I've had no romantic relationships. More recently I've found I'm really missing something and end up hugging pillows and rolled up bits of my duvet. Can't see it ending anytime soon. Sometimes I rub or hold my arm or hand. Even though I know no difference, I still feel like I have touch starvation. I remember one time I was in high school taking the local bus home, and as she was getting off the bus a random woman brushed my shoulder accidentally. I had the realization that it was the first time a girl other than my mother or aunt had touched me in a long time. It was just something I still remember to this day. I am quite touchy-feely now, and I assume it's because I felt touch-starved then. My super unhealthy way of dealing with it was twofold. Become extremely needy, and as an unfortunate consequence drive people away from me. I got pretty good at sabotaging my relationships before they for their flying wings. Become addicted to PMO. It has been an interesting and terrible few years of my life. Starting my healing over again at 33. Don't be me. It's real, especially if you were touch-starved as a kid. It carries over as an adult. It's also super complicated if you are an abuse survivor. I crave physical comfort, but it also repulses me at times. I have one person that I get hugs from that feel safe. I also have a lot of stuffed animals and soft blankets. And, animals always help. I suffer. Cuddling my dogs makes it bearable for a while. And every time I meet my loved ones, I enjoy finally getting hugs again. And sometimes, when there's a fursuit walk nearby, a fursuiter, I'm more than happy to offer hugs to anyone who wants one. Or 2. Or 20. Don't worry, I clean and disinfect my fursuit afterwards. It's real, I deal with it to some extent. I am not touch-starved, as in I don't have any contact to humans, but the touch that you give another human as way of affection is what's important, and I do not get enough affection by either of my parents, so I basically just cry and dig into holes not meant for me as coping mechanisms. Was at the bar where I normally watched football on Sundays. A woman came, and I'd met there once before. After a brief conversation, she invited me to her home for sex. Later she said she'd seen a show on how human touch was important, and she realized how long it had been since she was hugged, let alone laid. Most definitely is real. I'm a very touch-orientated person, so living alone and being single means I get easily touch-starved. I don't have any pets, so I deal by using a weighted blanket and cuddling my pillows, imaging they are a person. Would definitely love to try and massage to help once I can afford it. I went through a period where I was extremely touch-starved in a marriage. Stayed with him for 6 years and self-harmed. Finally into things and am doing much better now. I would recommend volunteer work, being around animals, or working out at least 4 times a week. Partner dancing classes can help, just don't be creepy or anything. But they are a socially acceptable way of having physical contact with people. Blues dancing in particular can get very intimate. I personally found it to be too much for me. I prefer other styles music anyway. I asked one of my homies to cuddle a couple times, and it was super cathartic. There's also having a pet, getting a weighted blanket, and getting a body pillow to hug like a slumbering koala. I made it about 3 years before I suffered enough to try dating again. Real talk, you don't deal with, you just suffer through it, and try not to let it become touch aversion. For many of us it just becomes a thing we spend all our time and energy trying to distract ourselves from. Yes. My resentment of this is a part of why my marriage failed. Now I'm with someone I deeply love who actively cuddles me while sleeping, and I'm regretting wasting so much time with my ex. It's a horrible thing. There are days where that's all I want is just a big hug, but it's not available. My poor cats have to put up with the struggle snuggle until I feel better. I work with adults with developmental delays in a group home situation. They often are touch-starved. We focus on teaching appropriate touch, but hugs are usually okay. I touch myself all over. I caress and stimulate myself, and it gets better when I close my eyes and relax while doing so. I'll add some imagination if I care to. It's not a serious condition, but it's real. And it can be cured through self-massage or thinking about a time you were lovingly touched. Humans are such social creatures, touch starvation is very real. We need each other and we need connections to be happy and healthy. Massage allows you to get touch without being vulnerable. Always recommend it for anyone having gone through a breakup. I'm more physical with my friends. I run up and hug them. I've kissed a lot of them on the lips and shit like that. Yes, it's real. Everybody copes with it differently. Myself, cried a lot and tried to be somewhere else mentally. You don't. It is a matter of looks, personality and social privilege. The later one being most important. It's real. I tend to hug anything that's available: cats, dogs, pillow, plushies, whatever. I cuddle my plushies and use a massage cushion. Also, showering seems to help somewhat. Playing with cats. They are so soft and sweet. Hearing their purrs makes me happy. I don't like to be touched, but it is real because some people keep touching me. Fill that void with something else. Like volunteering and helping people. It's very real. Haven't found a healthy way of dealing with it yet. I work it off at the gym, or I get a massage or a plain pedicure. You get used to it. After a few years, almost repulsed by it.